Coming up on Look Today, well, Cleantech ECHS program hosts Millennials in Manufacturing Forum to address the importance of new eco-friendly jobs. I've got details. And Crandall Public Library plans to expand its conference rooms. More on that coming up. And controversial zoning proposal in Malta is unanimously passed. I've got those details. And it's all ahead on Look Today. Welcome everyone, I'm Jay Hood Jackson and this is Look Today. In tonight's program I sit down with Steve Trim. He's a tour guide at Grant's Cottage and he's here dressed as Ulysses S. Grant. He's going to discuss the upcoming Grant's Ball. I also sit down with Janine Clark. She's the owner of a dog, Sunny. She's here to talk about a musical adaptation for kids of Legally Blonde that's coming to the Charles R. Wood Theater in Glens Falls. And Sunny, by the way, plays the role of Bruiser. Plus, we've got your weather for the Tri-North counties, but first, these headline stories. Well, in our lead story, the Millennials in Manufacturing Forum, hosted by Cleantech ECHS program in Malta, took place this morning. Now, as part of the National Manufacturing Month, the breakfast meeting focused on the importance of students learning skills that apply to eco-friendly manufacturing jobs. Well, we spoke to Dr. Joe Dragoni. He's a superintendent of the Ballston Spa School District.
This is a great opportunity for our kids to be exposed to careers in manufacturing by students that are very close to their own age, just went through programs, just went through college, and have jobs in their own backyard.
Business leaders and teachers met with young professionals on shaping the manufacturing industry of the future. And we spoke to Joe about the impact of students on the local economy.
I think it's so great that they've come here to support and say, look, we're in these businesses, we're looking for employees like you. Go to programs like ours that we offer here at our early college high school, get your associates or go on further if you want, and there are tremendous job opportunities. So kids can pursue a passion and they can ultimately look to great employment down the road.
Now in other news, we've got some updates on Crandall Library in Glens Falls. Kathy Neftali, the director, is developing a plan to create more spaces for meetings. Now, currently the demand is high for the library's conference rooms, so Crandall Library will apply for a state grant for new space. We spoke to Kathy about this.
And because we're at capacity, we need some more space. We don't want to go back and ask the community for more resources or money to expand, so I've tasked my staff to come up with some plans for what we can do with the space we have.
Switching from news to weather. Well, today was beautiful. A heat wave with temperatures increasing into the 70s. So let's see how the rest of the week is shaping up. For a more detailed look at our weather, we're going to head to the Glens Falls Weather Center for a look at your first forecast. Back to the news. Well, the Malta Town Council has unanimously approved changes to a rezoning plan for Route 67. Now, the original resolution was considered very controversial. The zoning proposal will allow commercial businesses along this road. The original proposal was met with a lot of opposition by local residents who said that the increased traffic will lead to increased vehicle accidents. That's a rough road for anybody who knows it. The changes to the resolution will provide more space between the residential areas and the commercial corridor. Well, up next, I sit down with Steve Trim. He's a tour guide at Grant's Cottage in Wilton. He's here dressed as Ulysses S. Grant to discuss the upcoming Grant's Ball. Great interview. Plus, for something completely different, I sit down with Janine Clark. She's the owner of a dog, Sunny. She's here to talk about the musical adaptation for kids of Legally Blonde that's coming to the Charles R. Wood Theater. And Sunny, by the way, plays the role of Bruiser. But first, if you see news happening, you want to share a story idea, how about join us for an interview? Give us a call on the hotline. The number is 798-8000. Well, that's all the time we have for this edition of Look Today. I've got a couple of lookouts for tonight. You know, I have to tell you, one of the most amazing things about this job is that every day it's different. And today, it was just really different. I'm going to explain. It started off with us going down to the Clean Tech Conference. And just hats off to Joe and Laurel, Adrienne. Amber made an appearance to moderate it, and Madeline for, you know, just putting together the kind of event that just speaks to the future. Then we come back in and, you know, Steve Trim comes in and he's dressed as Ulysses S. Grant. And that interview was so different. And then to top it off, Janine comes in with the dog Sonny, and we're talking about Legally Blonde Jr., a presentation that they're putting on at the Charles R. Wood Theater. And she's got the dog with her and everything else, and the dog is all dressed up. I mean, it sure beats, you know what. It's just amazing some days. And kind of to prove it, we're going to take you out tonight. When Steve was here, I asked him about, was there anything, he does these reenactments a lot, and I asked him, I said, is there anything sort of meaningful that you'd like to note about Ulysses S. Grant? And it's very condensed. It's only about 1.5 minutes long, but please listen to it, because as you will be able to tell very quickly, it comes from Steve's heart. All right, tonight on Look TV, it's a Saratoga City Council meeting. Don't forget, tune in tomorrow night for the stories that matter to you. Here's Steve.
I know I am acclaimed as one of the leaders who freed the slaves, but I have to confess, before the war, I didn't oppose slavery. I didn't see anything wrong with it. And in fact, I married into a slave-owning family and owned a slave myself. It was during the war when the escaped slaves enlisted as Union soldiers and fought with such gallantry and such remarkable heroism that my views about black people began to change. I began to see that they really were, in all important ways, the equals of those of us who by chance happened to be white. I came home from the war, shaking hands with the rebels, welcoming them back into the American family. But I was also shaking the hands of the freed slaves. We are entering a new era when we must bind up the nation's wounds, and part of that involves changing attitudes on race. I do believe that our new black citizens should be welcomed with open arms, just as our veterans coming home are being welcomed.